I will be the very first person to admit that I gave Cory Booker an absolute rash of grief during the Senate confirmation hearings of Amy Coney Barrett. But I also have to say, I have to give him credit because we give credit where credit is due. Cory Booker actually, the day after the hearings were going on, when they were just having discussion among themselves in the committee, he actually made a really lovely speech about having the grace to get over partisan political differences and try to find ways to work together. And he actually got into a nice little exchange with Lindsey Graham, where Lindsey Graham acknowledged that Cory Booker played a pivotal role in the First Step Act. Let's just listen to a brief part of this exchange.
Congratulations be sufficient.
I appreciate that.
I mean that. And before you go on, this is pretty contentious time, and Twitter's blocking a story about Biden and the world's turning sideways and all. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Senator Cruz. But there would be no First Steps Act if Senator Booker, at a very crucial point in time, decided to find common ground. If they ever write the history of that bill, I'll attest to the fact that when it was about to fall apart, you kept it together. You kept your eye on the prize. I just wanted to say that.
And I'm going to attest to the fact that you and other colleagues just yesterday, after I did talk about race, had a conversation with me about the work that we can still do together on those issues. I came to the Senate, people said it was impossible for us to pass at least some of the legislation that Dick Durbin on our side really led to get things done. I'm really proud of some of the work we've done in this committee. And so I
just wanted to play that clip to show that I think a lot of times we get so wrapped up in the day-to-day minutia of what's going on and who's being canceled this day and who's doing this and who's doing that, that we forget that there are still people trying to work together. And I can vehemently disagree with Cory Booker on any number of things, and I can blatantly call him a liar from what he said in the ACB hearings. I don't know if he's lying purposefully or if he actually believes some of the things that came out of his mouth, but there are a lot of lies flowing out of Cory Booker's mouth. But I do have to give credit where credit is due and say, I do actually think that Cory Booker is someone who I believe he's authentic in his desire to actually do things that are productive. I don't agree with the way he goes about it a lot of the times, but I do believe that he is presenting a genuine urge to work across the aisle, and that's what it should be. But what Cory Booker doesn't seem to understand the irony of is that the party that he is a member of does not want that. And I'm going to present evidence of it. I have one of the most shocking cancellations that I've seen recently. It was like a little mini cancellation. It was like almost so many. They're doing so many cancellations nowadays that everyone just jumps over the really stupid cancellations and goes on to the only moderately stupid cancellations. It's absurd. But we're going to talk about what I was like, oh my God, when I heard about this cancellation. We're going to do that in a second. But before we get into that, folks, just a quick plug. I am trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. I am so very close, but I need your help. If you look down below you will see a little red subscribe button. Now, if you see fit, please make sure you click on subscribe, or even better yet, turn on those notifications so that in theory, YouTube sends you notifications when I post new content. I do post content almost every single day. Not every day. Sometimes I take little breaks here or there, especially because I'm traveling right now for the election. I'm doing rallies all over the place, but I do really try to do daily content around news, politics, culture, critical race theory, anything I feel like talking about. If you're enjoying the videos that you're seeing, I hope you'll consider subscribing and helping me reach that 100,000 subscriber goal in just, like under 2 weeks now, but I know we can do it. All right, let me tell you about the best cancellation that I've seen lately. And, what I thought was particularly ironic is that, look at the Hill's tweet right here. Funny moment, Senator Booker ousts Senator Ted Cruz as vegan, to which Cruz has jokingly decried as a scurrilous attack. And that actually was a little bit earlier on in this video. The Hill, of course, completely overlooks this really nice, genuine moment that happened between Lindsey Graham and Cory Booker. I mean, that to me is much more important than whether Cory Booker calls Ted Cruz a vegan, for crying out loud. But the reason I bring that up is because the Hill got this other story too that we're going to talk about. Dianne Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein has been canceled. Her crime? Hugging Lindsey Graham after the hearings came to a close. Feinstein's hug of Lindsey Graham sparks outrage on the left. Dianne Feinstein is canceled. Okay, let's just watch what happened. I'm going to turn off the sound of this, but you can just watch what happened, what they're upset about right here. So the hearing gets over. Dianne Feinstein's getting up. Lindsey Graham's getting up, looking like he's just had quite a day because Lindsey Graham was all excited that these hearings went well. Wait. Oh my God, they hugged. No, anything but that. Dianne Feinstein must be canceled for hugging Lindsey Graham. You can't make this stuff up. Senator Dianne Feinstein's praise of her Republican colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham, which she followed with a friendly hug, is stirring outrage on the left and prompting calls by prominent liberals for her to step down as the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee. You can't make this stuff up. Democrats, liberal activists, and left-leaning pundits, many of whom were dismayed that Democratic senators didn't put a tougher fight against President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, expressed outrage. Like, what did they want them to do? The reality is they don't have the votes to stop it. They simply don't. They tried to question her. She refused to answer the questions that she couldn't answer. Kamala Harris tried to play tricks on her to be like, do you believe that COVID is infectious? So do you believe that cigarettes cause cancer? Do you believe that climate change is real? ACB, of course, saw right through that because she's about 1,000 times smarter than any of them and didn't fall for it. They tried, man. They don't have the votes. That is reality. This nomination was 100% always going to go through if Donald Trump wanted it to, and they're just going to have to get over it. They lost. Elections have consequences. It is what it is. Demand Justice, an advocacy group that has staunchly opposed Trump's effort to fill the judiciary with conservative nominees, was first out the gate with a statement calling for Feinstein to resign. It's time for Senator Feinstein to step down from her leadership position on the Senate Judiciary Committee. If she won't, her colleagues need to intervene, Brian Fallon, the executive director of Demand Justice, said in a statement circulated about an hour after Barrett's confirmation hearing ended. An hour! They were so outraged by a hug. They were like, the most important thing we need to do right now is cancel Dianne Feinstein for hugging Lindsey Graham. If Senate Democrats are going to get their act together on the courts going forward, they cannot be led by someone who treats Sunrise activists with contempt and the Republican theft of the Supreme Court seat with kid gloves, Fallon said, referring to the Sunrise Movement, a grassroots environmental organization. Prominent voices respected on the left followed with their own stinging criticisms. And if these voices are actually respected on the left, this is all the reason that I need to have left the Democratic Party entirely. These people have lost their ever-loving mind. They're only interested in fighting. They're not interested in doing anything real. This is why, listen, man, for as much, there it is, okay. As much as I do take issue with Cory Booker sometimes, this is why I say I do believe he genuinely wants to create change because he's actively working across the aisle. That's what change really looks like, when you find ways to compromise, when you find ways to find common ground with people that you disagree with. I have a tremendous amount of respect for people that will do that. I have absolutely zero respect for people like this that are just trying to cause fights all the time and to sow divisions in this country. This is exactly the problem. What do they hope? What is the end goal here? Where is all of this going to go? Well, one of the things I always say when I'm doing trainings or coaching or anything like that is the world is a perfect place. It's not perfect in that we get what we want the very second we want it. But it is perfect in that we get exactly what we should expect to get based on what we contribute. So if what you're contributing all the time is fighting, is division, is calling everyone out for a hug, that's the hill you want to die on, a hug, what do you expect to come from that? We can never bridge the divide that exists in this country if we aren't willing to have the most basic of decorum in how we conduct ourselves. Dianne Feinstein praising Barrett and then inextricably praising Graham is a clear sign that she should not remain the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, tweeted Norman Ornstein, a resident scholar at the American Enterprise Institute and contributing editor for The Atlantic. Oh, well, there's no surprise there. Lawrence Tribe, professor emeritus of constitutional law at Harvard, retweeted Ornstein's statement, adding, "I'm afraid I agree. Much as I like Senator Feinstein personally and admired her work, years ago. The hug was a bridge too far. I'm not going to read the rest of this because it's just more nonsense and complaining about Merrick Garland and stuff like that. I just wanted to point out that we're now canceling people over a hug. I'm canceling one of the top-ranking Democrats in the Senate over a hug. Now, I'm not the biggest fan in the world of Dianne Feinstein, so whatevs. But that doesn't make this any less ridiculous. Dude, you should not be canceling people over a hug. You should instead be taking a lesson from Cory Booker and finding the grace to work with people who you might disagree with. All right, guys, that's all I got for this one. I'll see you soon.